James E. Bennett was from Knoxville, Tennessee when he entered the U.S. Army in 1943. He served in combat with the 36th Infantry Division in Italy and southern France and was wounded in action, thus earning the Purple Heart Medal.
Tell me your name. What is your name?
Earl Bennett.
And what branch of service were you in?
36th Infantry.
The 36th Infantry.
Yeah.
And were you drafted?
Well, when I signed up, I went in and told them I wanted to go.
Okay. And where were you living? Where were you from?
I was living in Knoxville.
Knoxville. Where did you go to high school?
Farragut.
You went to Farragut High School.
Yeah.
And the war had broken out, and you signed up.
Yeah. Yeah, soon I got 18.
Okay. And then where did you go when you were first inducted?
In Georgia.
Okay.
And then I took basic training in Macon, Georgia, at Camp Wheeler.
Camp Wheeler.
Yeah.
And tell me about your experience there.
I just done what they told me to do.
Okay.
Tried to be a good soldier.
And what kind of soldier were you training to be?
Well, they wanted me to be a cook because I was working in Kern's Bakery.
Okay.
I told them I didn't want to be no cook, I wanted a rifle. And oh, that stirred them up good.
I bet.
And boy, I mean, tell you, I regretted that.
Okay. So after your training, after you trained, where did they send you?
What?
Where did they send you after you trained?
Oh, to Italy.
Italy.
Yeah, soon as basic training's over, 16 weeks, I come home for 7 days, and then they went to Italy.
Okay. And what unit were you in? Which unit were you in?
Angio.
Okay.
I joined them in Angio.
Okay. And were they? Tell me about what was going on when you got to Italy.
Well, I was under 3 bombings. I was on the boat 27 days going over there. And the Germans bombed us out there on the water. And got on in there to Naples. And just barely got off the ships. I don't know how many. I don't know how many ships there was 105 ships in the convoy going over there.
Okay.
And as soon as we got in Naples, they said, "Now, when you get out of start off this boat, run as hard as you can to that building over there." And they put us in the basement. We got in there, and German, I mean, they dropped them bombs, and they just were shaking that building. I thought the building was going to fall in on us. Anyhow, the next morning, we come out, and I looked out there, and there was ships where they bombed and hit them ships, just piled up out there in the harbor. And so they moved me on up. There's a little town there, Mount Casino. Mount Cass, I think that's what the name was. Anyhow, it was on the highway between Naples and Angio. And they had been in there fighting, and they was out of that whole town, they was just a one chimney sticking up. And they had me taking a small mules, loaded with supplies up the trail to supply the GIs on there. I That's something. So, pull us off that, and we had landed, made the amphibious landing in Angio.
Okay.
And it was, the Angio was just about over with when we got there. And that's when I joined the 36th Infantry Division. They was a big gun mounted on a railroad above Rome. And they fired that thing at us. And when it come over the top, above the treetops, I heard a little zap, and I looked up there, and that thing, that big projectile was heading towards us, and it landed on behind us in a cemetery. And I thought, boy, I hope it doesn't fire it no more. And they come back. We were sitting there, and German planes come over and started bombing us. And I'm telling you, them bombs were dropping all over the place. And,
what did you do when the bombs were being dropped?
laid down on the ground.
Okay.
That's all you could do. Didn't have time to dig a hole. And we dug more holes. I got holes dug all over. It in France.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't tell you nothing. They didn't tell you what you're going to do, nothing. And that little Stars and Stripes paper, they just told you to pick up what's going on in it. And we was just a few miles out of Rome, and they come out and said, we're going around Rome. We're not going to tear Rome up. And we went up. You could hear a small arms fire inside Rome. And I was wondering what was going on. I thought they were going around it. And they got up above there about 15 miles and stopped and dug in. And me and my buddy we were out in front and heard two shots. I told him, I said, I'm going to crawl out there and look over, just over the hill, see what's going on. I heard a bunch of Italians over there hollering and whooping going on. And I got up there and I seen Mussolini hanging on a tree. Hanging on a tree limb where they had shot, and he was dead. They shot him. And that was something. And then they moved us back to Salerno. That's further south in Italy. They moved us down there and took 2 weeks training, so amphibious training. And August 15th, 1944, we landed in southern France, and it was bad. It was we had a place there. The concrete wall with the German building behind it with holes in that wall, firing at us. And there's on this little PT boat, and squatted down, his leg bent, hurting. And I got to straighten his legs out. I raised up, and he said, inflate your life preserver. Had the belt, and she pulled the trigger there, and it blowed it up. I raised up and got above that side of that boat. They blowed that thing off my back. That much further than they'd got me in the back. But I didn't know it. That thing come loose and fell down. I threw it I threw it overboard. And they had a lieutenant there heard them on the radio. They told us to go down to the next place, cause they done went in, no resistance, and cause them machine gunners behind them walls, and find that wall was really putting the bullets out there on us. And we moved down there and landed on where they done been landed, and but they didn't knock out a pillbox. Germans were still in that pillbox when I come out on the bank, going up through there. They started firing at it, and I hunkered down, and the guy next to me had a flamethrower. His job was to knock them out, and they killed him. And I run out over there and grabbed that thing, and I had never had one in my hand. I looked at it real quick. I got to figure out how the thing works. And I seen the trigger, and I started getting like that up through there and got up there, and I stuck that thing in the pillbox, and I took care of 7.
Yeah.
7 Germans with firing. I mean, it was, and when I got on up there, after that, I threw that thing down, went on up the hill, and I was wanting water. And so I thought I'd hunt me some water. And I went up there, and I turned the wrong way. They had went to the left, and I went to the right. And I got on back there, and there wasn't nobody around there, and I thought, boy, I better be careful here. And big old pine trees there. I said, I'll be cautious going up through there. There might be a German patrol. Sure enough, they was. 15 of them come out of the woods in front of me. I got behind that tree. They headed to that well. The well is right there in that. There's an old house there, and the well was in the yard. And they hit that well and playing with the water, throwing water on each other. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to get around there and get between them and their rifles. They had their rifles leaning on the log, and I thought, boy, if I get between them and them rifles, I'd have some fun. I'd knock out 15 of them right quick. And I didn't go, because I was afraid they'd see me. So I stayed behind that pine tree, and these 2 of them come down towards me. They got about 10 foot, about 4 of them here at that wall over there from me. And I thought, 2 more steps and I'll kill both of you. And at that time, their boss, commander officer, yelled at them, called them by name, and they stopped. He motioned, come back that way. That's all saved them. And when he motioned that they was going over, I didn't know how close we was at the water. Anyhow, I stayed behind that tree. And when I was satisfied that there wasn't no more going to come out, I went to that well and I filled up full of water. Had 2 canteens, and I drunk all I could drink, put them two on each side.
So how were you wounded in action?
Huh?
When were you wounded in action?
It was in October of that year. We was up there at in them mountains, and you could see the German side and the Switzerland side, and it's just a difference of daylight and dark the way these buildings was built. You could tell as you was out there, and it's coming daylight, and the Germans had started. They were getting ready for that bull's.
The Battle of the Bulge?
Yeah, they getting ready to start that, and this big German, he fired, and he glanced. They part of his bullet right there now, and I went down, and they had give us overcoats because it's cold weather. And I'd put that overcoat in that hole. And when I went down on that overcoat. And then they just dropped a water shell on top of me, or sideways or something, and it had blowed me out of that hole. and I was about that high. I remember about that high off the ground, and when I hit back in the hole. And that was right at daylight. And they at dark, they sent two guys up there to get me, and they were pulling me off with my one on one leg, going up, dragging off. I started to kick. I come to and go in and out all day, and I started kicking. I woke up and I started kicking. What's going on here? This guy said, "Hey, he's dead. He's alive." And he thought I was dead, and they taking me off. And they said, "Come on, Bennett, we gotta get off here." And I said, "I ain't going. I'm gonna fight." And they said, "No, you're not either." I said, "Let me get my stuff." But they had done got all of my stuff, rifle, everything. I didn't have nothing. No one done leave my house, helmet.
Okay, go ahead. Finish where.
Huh?
Go ahead and continue with your story.
Well, they took me down behind the front line and put me in a house. I locked the doors. And there was 10 of us in there, and we was running around. Couldn't get out of them doors, and we was running around each other. I never forget that. We was running around each other. "I ain't crazy. Are you crazy?" We was asking each other that in the house. And the front line was moving on. And they sent me back to the tent hospital. And old Mark Bradley, I didn't know him, but he knew me. And this was constant down through there, and everybody at that cot. And my head was swelled out way out like this, way out there. And he come up and he said, "What happened to you, soldier?" I said, "I got blowed out of a foxhole." And he said, "You look like you got blowed out of something." And I said, "Will this stay like that?" He said, "No, we'll take care of that." I said, "Will he get me a Purple Heart?" and that tickled him. He said, "If you don't get a Purple Heart for that, you get in touch with me, and I'll make sure you get one." And well, they sent they sent us on back, and my head was still woozy. I couldn't remember nothing, didn't know nothing. And they was going to put us on a plane, but it was on, it set lined up. There was a field where they used it for plane come in there. We got on that plane and stayed 3 or 4 days because it was raining. And I woke up to myself. I was in Italy. Didn't know how I got there. Didn't know where I was at or nothing. And it was 40 miles back to away from Naples to the other side. And I got over there a day or two, and I got up one morning and I thought, what am I doing here? I need to get back up there with my buddies. And so I took off down the road walking 40 miles to Naples. And I come to this park, had a lot of benches on it, and I got on that bench, and I stayed 2 or 3 days. And I bent over to do something, my shoe and it come to me. I said, where am I at? I remember coming down that road, and I'm going back. I gotta get back up at that house where they had. They moved, I wouldn't know where to go to. I took off. Now, I hadn't had nothing to eat in 2 or 3 days. I was walking down the road, and here come a GI truck. 2 guys in it. They put me in the middle and drove me right back to the front of that office where the commanding officer, he was a colonel. Got out, started, I couldn't hardly stand up. And then they was leading like that, and I said, I jerked loose. I said, now I'm going in there on my own. You ain't going like you captured me. I'll just whoop hell out of both of you. And they backed off, and I went on in there, and this colonel had me sitting down in front of him, and I'm telling you, he worked me over real good. And then he asked me, he said, I'm going to ask you a question, and you better tell me the truth. I said, I ain't got no lie to tell you. I'll tell you the truth. How come you leave? I said, I got to think about my buddies up on front line. I got to get back up there with them. Is there any way you can help me get it back up there? And tears come down. I seen I had it made that thing. And he said, no way. And I said, well, I ain't had nothing to eat in 2 or 3 days. Said, and I'm sleepy. I ain't had much sleep. Said, I'm back here and I'm going to stay here. And he said, you're restricted to your quarters and you stay there and don't get up. And I said, okay. And he said, I'll have the cook bring you something to eat in a minute. And I got in that bed, boy, it felt good. And I went to sleep, and the cook woke me up with a big plate of stuff. And he said, now, if you want another, then I'll go get another. And I said, yeah, I'll get me another. Boy, I eat like a busted. And then while I was sitting on that bench, there's a mosquito bit me. Give me malaria fever. And I had that malaria fever 5 times. Hey, 2 doctors come in there. If I'd had enough sense, I would have had, I'd draw a good paycheck, but I didn't. 2 doctors told me in there, and they said, we got this little Atterbrine pill, yellow, and said, you take it, and you won't have malaria. Said, if you take it one more time, they'll kill you. And I said, well, better be yellow than dead. They laughed about it. And but if I'd had any sense, I'd have made them put it in the right. Then I'd have had proof. Way that's an information, way they were, you got to have proof for everything. And I would have drawn $400 or $500 a month for years. And that being blowed out of that hole caused my hearing go bad. It went bad. And they sent me to Nashville. Said, you're turned down. Said, you're not eligible to draw anything. I drawed $14 a month, I believe it was. I don't remember. Anyhow, they assigned me a attorney over in Nashville to take care of my business with VA. And he called me one day and said, I was scheduled to meet with him. And I couldn't hear what he was saying. He said, can't you hear me? I said, no, I hear you, but I don't understand what you're saying. He's trying to tell me that they canceled the meeting for me not to say it. He said, save your gas. I heard him say that. And anyhow, he was thinking about my hearing and got me an appointment at Johnson City. And I went up there, and them people up there, they're on the right, they're good people. Down in Nashville, they think they have to pay for it. Anyhow.
So, I got another question about why you were overseas. How did you get back to America?
Well, when the time come,
They
went by points.
Yeah. Did you go alone, or did you go with your whole unit?
I wasn't in the unit.
Okay.
And what they done, they went points, and they started out, I think they started out at 42 points to send people home. And I had 37. And I told them, I said, now, if I get that Purple Heart, I'll be going home. He said, yeah, but you're not going to get that Purple Heart because we cannot send you home and shape your head in. That's the very word the doctor said. We cannot turn you out with, they had a big word for it, I don't know what it was. Anyhow, I didn't go home till I had 37 points, and then a year later I had enough, and they put me on the boat and sent me back home.
So how does it feel to be a World War II veteran?
Huh?
How does it feel to be a World War II veteran?
Well, here later it's pretty good. It especially when I went up there at DAV, got out there and people donated all that money, and they said I was a cause of them donated, and that made me feel good. And this right here is the same thing. It's making me feel pretty good because they recognize me for being a veteran.
Well, we're proud of you. And how old are you now?
90.
90 years old.
90 years old. I caught up with her.
Your wife?
Yeah, she was 90, and then a little bit later I got 90.
How long have you been married?
67 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they said that would never work when we got married. And we still win. I wouldn't take nothing for it.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about being in the Army?
Well, no, that's... I asked her one time, I said, how come I get all these details of going out here? And I said, every time one comes up, you get me. I said, you're the only one we trust. And I was a prisoner of war for one day.
You were a POW for one day?
Yeah.
Wow.
They put me up when we was moving along. See, we had these Germans on the run, and we was moving along the highway. They put a man way out there in front. So if he runs into somebody, he can run back there and tell them. Anyhow, had me out there, a point man they call. And in France, the crossroads was cinders. And the main roads was paved. And I got up there to one way out there in front of them, and there 15 Germans come out from both sides of the road. I slung my rifle over in the bushes, threw my bayonet, burned the ammunition, throwed it over the other side, and held my hands up. Went on around there, and they had an old truck sitting there, and they had us on that truck, put me in the middle, and the commanding officer sat behind me, and I was trying to talk him into them being prisoners for me. I told him, boy, I had him going. He almost, if I'd had 5 more minutes, he would have done that. 15 Germans and him, me take him back, I'd have had a pretty good medal for that. Anyhow, he'd say he could speak English, a little bit of English, about half of it, and he'd say, shut up. When I get close to him, I get him about notion of doing that, he'd say, shut up, shut up. and I heard this little plane coming toward us, and I seen what it was. It was one of our spotter planes. And when it got up where I could see him good, I stood up and waved my hands, and he pulled me back down. You get down. waving my hands, and he answered me like that. I, boy, I got it made now. And it wasn't 2 minutes, here come the artillery. It was hitting in front of us. And he was telling them in German to get off that truck and lay down on the ground. That's what they done. And boy, when they done that, I come off there, and I was running towards the back. And that last of that car, I stomped him. I just stomped the hell out of him. And his helmet fell off, and he was about a 12, 14-year-old kid. I felt sorry for him, but still, he's raising his rifle up to kill me, and I jerked it and threw it in the bushes. And then I took off. I've wondered a whole lot of times if what that officer thought if he survived that killing, what he thought, and me gone. And I went back down there and got my rifle and went back and told them about it. And they laughed and said, "You're too slick. They can't catch you nowhere."
Well, we're so thankful that you made it back.
Huh?
We're thankful that you made it back, and we're very proud of your service.
Yeah.
And we thank you for doing this interview today.